Hello my friends, welcome back. Hope you're well. And in this video, I'm in Luminar Neo and I'm going to be jumping into the curves tool. I've had some questions about it. And honestly, I'm here to try to demystify it, decomplexify, simplify, whatever the term is, just to make it easier to understand. Now, when I started editing photos, people talked about the curves tool and I avoided it for years because I was afraid of it and I thought I was going to break everything and all that, but you're not. It's nothing to be afraid of. It is complicated, in fairness. But underneath what appears to be complex on the top, it's really powerful, but it's also really useful just to understand. And this video is going to be about helping you understand what it does and how it works. In fairness, I use it some. I don't use it a ton. There are people who live in Photoshop and do curves all day in different areas and mask it in and do all that stuff. Cool, that's great. It's not me because I feel like in Luminar, there are other tools that make it easier and frankly quicker for me to be a bit more precise with the light and the color. And those are the two things that curves will really adjust for you, is light and color. I'm going to walk through that in this video, and I'll be using this photo. So curves is in develop raw or develop. This is a raw file. I've cropped it and probably straightened it, but I haven't done any other adjustments. So if I do before and after, there isn't any change. No. So to get started, curves is here, and I've got my histogram visible. If you don't have your histogram visible, click on view and show histogram and it'll show. And the reason I wanted to point that out is because if you look in the background of curves here, there's a histogram. Well, that histogram mirrors the histogram up here. All that is showing is the distribution of light in the photo. So you may, when you're editing with curves, you can just look at the histogram here because it's effectively mirroring the one above. Now, there's a whole lot of different things going on in curves, but again, it's about light and color. There's 4 tabs, if you will. Each of them is a little dot. The first one's gray, and then red, and then green, and then blue. Red, green, blue, RGB. That's important to remember. Now, on the curves tool, or the tonal curve, which is usually what the first one is called, that's only adjusting the light, nothing else. The color of the line is adjusting based on which tab you're on. I call them tabs, but it's just to click a different dot, get a slightly different view, but you're also having the ability to impact different things. And on the red, you're impacting the red and cyan. Green is green and magenta. Blue is blue and yellow. And the easy way to remember that is for me to show you this. This is a color wheel that I found on the internet, but all it does is it points out which colors are opposite of each other and therefore complementary. So red and cyan are opposite each other. They're complementary. Magenta and green, same, and blue and yellow. Well, that's the same thing here. If I go over to red, I have the ability to make the photo more red or more cyan, right? Remember, red and cyan, right? Opposite each other. Same with green, right? I can do green and magenta, green or magenta. Neither one of those look good on the photo, but green and magenta opposite each other, and blue, same thing, right? Except it's blue and yellow. Make it more blue or make it more yellow. Yellow looks terrible, but blue and yellow are opposite each other. Now, if you ever forget that, or you don't want to go download this thing, I totally get it. There's another way to keep that top of mind, and that is go into color harmony and look at color balance. In color balance, you've got cyan red, magenta green, and yellow blue. These are the same colors, and that's why I said, if you want to adjust these colors, I often use tools like color balance because you can separate it by tonal value, which is the same thing the tone curve does, but you just have a slider here. You can pick the tonal value here. You just can't be quite as specific as you can in curves, but it's an easier tool to use, which is why I don't use curves a lot for color adjustments, but wanted to point that out. So let's go back to this tone curve, the first tab, if you will, which is all about the light. And if you take this little dot, you can grab these dots and you can move them around and do all kinds of things, right? Same up here. You can also drop dots onto the line. I believe you can drop up to 10 of them and then move them around to do different things, right? And the thing to be aware of is the line here represents a distribution of light. If you haven't figured it out here, this bottom left is the shadows, the dark parts, and this upper right is the bright stuff like the highlights. If I drag the highlights that way, I'm making them brighter, and you can see my histogram is changing, and so is the histogram up here. And if I drag it this way, I start making them darker. Histogram in the top and in the curves tool is collapsing to the left, meaning things are getting darker because, hey, I just moved things. You can always double click one of those little points to send it back to its normal position or zero it out, if you will. Same thing on this side. Now, I can drag this, and all I'm doing is I'm making the shadows darker and darker and darker. The histogram's collapsing and getting darker, so is the one up top. If I go this way, I'm getting the shadows a lot brighter, which means the histogram is going completely away from the shadows and is moving towards the midtones. It's also fading the photo. So whenever you see a faded kind of vintage look, usually what's happening is they're taking the shadows and lifting them and kind of fading them out. That's kind of how that's done. So that's a kind of primer on the light and that tone curve, which is part of the curves tool. I think of the curves tool as a name as being all 4 tabs, whereas this is the tone curve. That's like the red curve, the green curve, and the blue curve. That's kind of how I think about it. Now, you can also, as I said, drop different points here, and I like to think of these, or call them power points, and these give you the ability to isolate sections and move the light around. So I drop this here. Remember, shadows the bottom left, highlights the upper right, so right in the middle is going to be midtones. This section, I'm going to remove that one by double-clicking. This one is kind of like upper midtones heading toward the highlights, and this is lower midtones heading toward the shadows. And what you often see or hear is people say, I'm going to put an S-curve, give it a little bit of contrast. Here's an S-curve for you. It's really simple. You drop these 2 points, approximately there. You can move them. Even after you drop them, you can readjust them, or you can double-click and start over. Click it to add it back. An S-curve is just making an S shape out of this curve. So that means slightly lifting this. Again, the midtone, the higher end of the midtone is getting a little bit brighter because I'm going up and to the left. You can see the photos getting brighter in those areas. And this one, which is lower midtones heading toward the shadows, getting a little bit darker. And all I did is add a little bit of contrast before and after, before and after. Now, that's a little bit too much, but that's an example of an S-curve because it made a little bit of an S shape. Don't let this intimidate you. It's super simple. The other thing is sometimes you just want to brighten an image. You can just drop it right in the middle, which is midtones, and slightly drag it to the left. I'm brightening the image. Hey, Jim, the highlights are getting a little too tight or too bright. Okay, cool. I can drop something up here and maybe pull that back a little bit. Hey, Jim, the shadows are a little bit too bright as well. Okay, I can drop one here and pull that down. And now I'm starting to get a little bit more custom because I'm dropping more points. And the more points that you have, the more areas of impact you're having. And again, it depends on where you are on this spectrum of light. But you can see before and after, I've done a nice job of kind of adjusting the contrast in the photo. Again, if I don't like something, double click and it sends it back to its normal position, effectively erasing that. So you're not going to break anything. It's super simple. Now, the other thing too is the more points you have, the more you can isolate specific areas. So for example, if I drop a point right here and just drag it that way, everything starts getting brighter. Because I'm taking the midtones and I'm dragging it, but you'll notice the entire length of this is also kind of bowing out towards the brighter areas. Well, maybe I want to lift the midtones, but I don't want to lift everything else. And this is where dropping multiple points starts to have an impact. Let me double click that. I want to lift the midtones, but I want to isolate that area pretty tightly so I can drop a point there and a point there. And now when I go and lift this, you will notice the rest of that curve is not lifting. So this point here is holding that upper section still, effectively, not 100%, but pretty close. And the same thing here. It's not allowing me to move that lower line. So now I'm lifting some of those midtones without impacting the rest of that line, therefore the rest of the photo. So I can do the same thing here. I can come in and say, I want to lift these shadows a little bit because they seemed a little bit dark, but it's not going to lift these areas towards the midtones and throw off the rest of the work that I've done. So it's a great way to be really, really specific before and after, before and after. And that's why I say it gives you so much control. It's incredibly powerful. And frankly, it takes some skill and some practice. It's more practice. The skill develops as you practice, like anything else. You didn't pick up a tennis racket and start acing your opponent the first time you played tennis, right? It takes practice. It takes reps, getting your reps in. It's a good thing to do just to grab the tone curve and start playing around. And this gives you the ability to really control things. But the cool thing is as I said earlier, you can also do color. So I'm going to go into red. It's the exact same thing here, right? So if I drag the midtones, I start getting red everywhere. And if I drag this way towards cyan, I get blue or cyan everywhere. But maybe I just want cyan in some of the shadows. So maybe I want to do something like that. And now I got a kind of cool, kind of Gotham looking kind of look where I added the cyan to a little bit of the darker areas of the photo without impacting the brighter parts of the photo because I controlled it, right? So that's a way to adjust the color. Same with green. Green's going to look terrible in this photo, and so does magenta, so I'm going to skip it. It's the same idea. But the blue looks pretty good here because it's already kind of a blue scene. And I can show you, if I take this and I start dragging it that way, I'm getting blue everywhere, and that looks pretty cool. This is another way of kind of playing with the white balance, which I normally do up here, down here in color, but you can start adjusting the white balance of the photo to make it feel a little bit cooler overall. Instead of dragging the temperature slider, you can do things like this, where you can just say, I want to cool it off. Well, dragging that midtone kind of up is going to get more cooler everywhere. But again, you can isolate that cool. So if you want to start isolating it, you might want to pull this back a little bit, get a little bit in the midtones. Maybe you want to get a little bit more in the shadows, and you can start dropping multiple points here where you're adding more and more blue into those darker areas. And maybe you want to do a little bit more here in the midtones and maybe a little bit in the highlights as well. And that doesn't exactly look great, but the point is I'm able to pretty specifically target areas to add the blue. I kind of liked it better, honestly, just doing a little bit of blue everywhere. And then if you want to maybe add a little bit more to the highlights and maybe a tiny bit more to the shadows, you can do that. It gives you a little bit of control. That looks pretty nice. And the power of curves is when you start coupling the light adjustments and the color adjustments together. So I just made color adjustments, which I kind of like, so I'm going to leave them. I'm going to go back and make some light adjustments. Maybe I want to add a little bit of that S-curve that I talked about, get a little bit more contrasty. That looks pretty cool, but it's a little too dark in the shadows, so I maybe want to lift that a little bit. And then maybe in the midtones, lower midtones, I want to lift that a little bit. And in the highlights, I want to be careful not to do too much. That looks pretty awesome. I've now combined a light adjustment on the tone curve, which is the gray one, and then also a color adjustment on the blue one, and sticking them together, I've got a pretty decent looking edit. Before and after, right? Before and after. So that's some of the power of curves, giving the ability to really target what you're doing in an image by specifically controlling light and color in specific tonal areas, highlights, midtone, shadows. Now again, it's fairly quicker and easier, I think, to do the color adjustments in something like color balance, down here in color harmony as I showed you. But because the ability to add multiple points and get more targeted and specific in very specific areas of the light, you can have more control with this. Again, it just takes practice. And frankly, it depends on the image. You may or may not want or need to do this, but I think it's a useful skill to understand how these edits and how the adjustments in tone curve or the curves tool overall can impact the overall look of your photo. So I'm going to hit reset real quick and go back to normal. There's one other part of this that I wanted to talk about, and that is these lower these little dots here on this line, and they represent the light as well. They're just the ability to quickly let you do something, but they only work in one direction for these two end pieces. The center one works in both. As you may have gathered or assumed, this left one is shadows, the right one is highlights, and the middle one therefore is midtones. But with shadows, you can't go left, you can only go right, which is dragging the shadows. You notice as I drag this, it's automatically grabbing the one that's on this curve and pulling it to the right. All it's doing is darkening, and I can just double click to set that back. And the opposite with highlights, right? If I take this, it's only going left, which as you can see, I'm getting more and more stuff into the highlights. Now, I don't want to do something like that because it looks terrible, but that is a quick way to just control the highlights or shadows, but only in one direction. Whereas these little grabbing these dots actually allow you to control it in any direction, either as well as move it all around the screen. So you have a bit more flexibility if you use these PowerPoints, but this is a great way to just do a quick adjustment. An example on this photo is maybe it needs to be a little bit brighter. Well, I can just take this and I can make it darker or brighter by dragging the midtones to the left, right? So all that's doing is bowing that line out, and that is effectively the same thing as grabbing a dot here and bowing that line out. It gives you the same ability to adjust, but again, this lower line, you don't have as much control because you can't drop multiple points and you can't be really targeted and specific. Here, it grabs the midtones as it defines them, so straight up midtones, and I can make those brighter. Here, I can make the midtones brighter, but I can also anchor that, right, by keeping that really controlled and tight. And maybe I can slightly adjust that one and that one, and it gives me a bit more control by doing that. But the bottom line is a ton of power and a ton of control over light and color in the Curves tool. It's really useful. Even if you end up not using it, I personally think that it's really useful just to understand what's going on kind of under the hood, so to speak. And keep in mind, it's a light and color adjustment, which is reflecting, this histogram reflects the one up above. And it's just a powerful, powerful tool to give you a ton of control over your images and your edits in terms of light and color. Those are the two things I focus on primarily when I'm editing anyway. Hope this has given you some ideas. This is kind of a demystifying curves type video. Thanks for following along. If you haven't yet got my free editing guide for Luminar Neo, it's available at the link below. Check it out, and I'll be back soon, my friends. You guys take care. Thanks for hanging out again. I'll see you soon, and until next time, adios.